To start our first project, I will recommend you to make 4 motifs, 3 leaves of any choice, whatever you would like. We already learned 3 or 4 of them. I made 3 leaves that are crocheted over the packing cord and Irish rose. Also cut a square, not very big square. My square is, let's see, 5 almost and half, a little bit more than 5.5 inches each side. And trace that square on the canvas fabric, on a thick fabric. I like canvas to use because it is thick enough and it is not too stiff. You can use fabric almost that look like, feel like jeans or something like that. Well, canvas is the perfect fabric. You can find it, it's 100% cotton. You can find it in Joann stores or Hobby Lobby stores. And after you trace a square on a piece of fabric with a Sharpie or a pen, any pen, I use a pen, you don't have to worry about that it will mark permanently on it. You can use permanent marker as a Sharpie. It's okay, because I, for example, will use this again for another project like this. And place the motifs face up and trace them with the pen, holding them. Be careful not to mark the and damage the motifs. You can actually, here you can use a pen if you're afraid to make them dirty and make spots, or you can use just a pencil and trace the motifs on a fabric. And in the same place, in the middle of the square, place rose. After you're done with this, you will need also to make a chain. You can see I already have one, and fasten this chain to the edge of the pattern with thread of different color, and try to sew it in such a way that it will be not tight, but at the same time it will not loose. It will be easy for you to get in. Just lay perfectly down this chain on the edge of the square and fasten the piece in place until the last stitch is fastened to the fabric. Cut thread and do the same thing with motifs. Each motif you need to fasten to the fabric that it will stay in place. Sometimes people use needles. I will not recommend to use needles because you can poke yourself all the time every time you come close to the motif, and it's not very pleasant to work this way. So from now on you can put aside the rest of your motifs and fasten them up. Make sure that your motifs are facing you with the right side. This is the way it was done in traditional Irish crochet. In modern crochet we will do it a little bit different. And fasten leaves and rows to the fabric. Now do not have to fasten it very tight, but tight enough that your motifs will not wobble around and will not move. You don't want that. You want to avoid this from happening. You want your motifs to be in place, but at the same time easy to use as you crochet. Another thing that I want to tell you, when I fasten my motifs, I always make sure that you are not fasten the motifs by the edges. Leave the edges alone, like next to the edges, like few 5 millimeters away from the edge. This is where you can fasten the motifs to the fabric. So make sure they are not moving. They are in place and the edges are not sewn to the fabric. You will need that. You will see why as we will crochet background netting. The same way, fasten the rest of the motifs. And when you're ready, when the other leaf is all 3 leaves, first you always sew to the pattern, to the fabric motifs that will be underneath. And if you position your motifs in such a way that rose will be on the top and cover a little bit the tip of the base of the leaf, then you will have to fasten the rose at the end. So first make sure that your leaves are attached to the fabric, and at the end you can put this rose and fasten it also to the fabric. And after that we will start crocheting background netting.